Back to the Apex Summer Qualifiers live on OGN. We just have our first qualifier as Airtrax went through in an upset, you'd have to say, over Inventor. Now, Inventor's not a flurry, he's not a ghost, he's not one of the really cherished names in the Korean scene, but he was someone with stage experience, so relevant that Airtrax ended up winning pretty comfortably, even though we looked at that rogue deck, especially from Inventor, and kind of wondered what was going on in some of the decisions for Inventor, especially when you can't change the decks between now and Saturday.
Yeah, I think that rogue deck was definitely his Achilles heel, if you will. There, it's a cool in concept, but you really have to wonder. And we were talking about this during the break. What cards like Defias Ringleader and Moros really do for you in that deck? I mean, yeah, they're more small minions, so there's that. But you need to be able to do something with those minions, because a lot of other decks that run small minions have much more synergy than those cards do.
Yeah, like Bloodlust, but you can't get it from Rogue unless you steal it.
I mean, you can think of many classes, you know, Bloodlust, Savage Roar, even something like a Reliquary Seeker that Warlocks have would have made a lot of sense, but we'll push past. And here is the return of an old face. khaizero was the grand finalist versus Caster in the grand final of Season 5. He was, of course, defeated in that match, one of two runners-up in the field today. From Team Sunbee is khaizero, taking on one of the most well-known names here. khaizero in the qualifiers took out Ghost, actually, but Ghost didn't go on to make it anyway.
Yeah, this guy also is known for bringing some funky decks to the tournament, so
Secret
maybe
Hunter.
you're going to see more of that. It was a secret
Paladin.
Was a secret Paladin with Murloc attached to it.
He brought like a weird Murloc secret Paladin thing after... yeah, it was interesting. It was interesting.
He liked to do it his way, so we'll see if he has some Inventor-inspired rogue decks coming or anything else crazy in his lineup. Oh, I look over. No rogue, sadly, but so the potential for some fireworks is bringing a Hunter deck, and it has some interesting Hunter decks in the past as well. His opponent is Steelo the God. Went out in the quarterfinal of Season 6, was also a semi-finalist in Season 4, so look at the amount of matches, actually. He played a really long qualifier compared to his opponent, khaizero, because he took that loss to Alpay in the earlier rounds. So got Silent Slayer and Kranish.
Wow.
Worth noting, guys, that Kranish, back-to-back BlizzCons, but because he is not in this tournament and does not have a BlizzCon seed, Kranish's dream of being the only player to ever make it to 3 BlizzCons in a row has died at this point.
Yeah, which would have been all the BlizzCon Hearthstone Championships, because I mean, yeah, there was.
What about Artosis' one?
I mean, that was a cool tournament, but it's time we admitted that maybe that's not on the same level.
Pretty cool stat as well. 4 out of 6, so 66% of OGN run tournaments Steelo has qualified, so his consistency in 2016 can't be denied.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of consistency, this guy is the guy who brings the textbook decks with solid lineup plays.
Yeah.
Contrast to what khaizero is used to doing.
But you see, there's a bit of a problem with Steelo is that he does bring the textbook decks, but he just copies them from the textbook because this man almost never changes his deck list. I swear he runs the same tempo mage in Season 6 that he ran in Season 4, and that was right at the start of the year. But we'll see if anything's changed. Let's see if Steelo can subvert expectations and get through to the semifinals.
But I mean, if this guy's playing tempo maze, then I'm sure he at least swapped out one card for that Firelines portal, right?
Oh, a Babbling Book, perhaps, is a 1-drop.
Obviously.
All right, well. And wow, khaizero has his Hunter band away, Warrior taken away from Steelo.
Well, khaizero's not running Warriors, so, you know, I'd say where Hunter can get a little bit awkward these days, where it could be mid-range, it could be N'Zoth, it could be Secret. You might as well just take it out, not have to worry about it.
And result, Warlock, Druid, Shaman, and Mage versus Shaman, Warlock, Mage, Druid. So identical classes between the two.
Yeah. All right, pretty cool stuff.
Yeah, and Hunter is kind of a signature class from khaizero. He did use a lot of versatile, different type of decks from Hunter. So I guess Steelo is trying to avoid that as much as possible and get rid of the uncertainty.
Might as well.
Speaking of uncertainty, this is definitely the match of the two most established players. You know, both these players had a lot of experience on Hearthstone Master career. No one more than Steelo, but he still hasn't taken down the big one. And khaizero, the runner-up in Season 5, knows that feel as well. So tell your friends, live on OGN Global and Play Hearthstone, second APAC Summer Qualifier, khaizero versus Steelo, goes live now. Karazhan meta continues to come together in the APAC Summer Qualifier. Steelo will be leading with his mage. How tempo is it when you see a Doomsayer in the starting hand looking like a Freeze Mage coming through from Steelo? Will be Shaman coming through from khaizero. Expecting to be on the more aggro side because he is a more aggressive player, but no guarantees on that just yet.
Golden Spirit Claws. Cool. I like it. Now, Shaman obviously can struggle a little bit against Freeze Mage. Hard to get the damage in there.
Yeah, the board control is a key when Freeze Mage has so many ways to deal with the board and freeze the board.
Yep. I mean, you play that early Totem Golem and Doomsayer really kind of ruins your day.
Job's done.
No sign of the turn 1 Totem Golem just yet. If khaizero can really apply the pressure early, there is always a chance you can take it down. Looking at favorite cards, there's that mysterious challenger that khaizero was known for, but Steelo actually has it as his favorite card, if that's to be believed.
Yeah, a lot of these players, they have been playing on wild format just because the HCT point does not go from the ladders anymore, starting from August. So I guess that's why Steelo's favorite card is Mr. Challenger now.
There you go.
Well, Secret Paladin's pretty strong in wild, obviously.
The Acolyte of Pain for Steelo.
Yep.
khaizero already behind on the board, which is a bit worrying, but does have obviously a very easy way to dispatch that Acolyte of Pain. We'll have to invest in the coin this turn, though.
Yep, might as well get a couple 2-3s out. This lets khaizero put the most pressure on the board that he can.
Yeah, and he can still play the Plankton Totem next turn.
Yeah, that's the idea.
With the Thunderbluff Valiant, I guess perhaps I spoke too fast, and it feels like both these players have subverted their image. Steelo has played exclusively Tempo Mage in 2016 at OGN tournaments, but is running Freeze Mage this time, and khaizero, known for his super aggressive lines, has gone for a more mid-range Shaman, so both players reversing their image to start things up.
Yeah. I wonder if he's running Medivh, though. That's the question. That'd be cool. Popcorn.
Studio starting to fill up a little bit. People love watching Steelo. Believe the sole member of All Killers. No, Palmblad's here as well. So Palmblad and Steelo representing the All Killers in this tournament.
Yeah, khaizero is also a member of Team Sunbi, which was a very popular clan in Korean Hearthstone.
I mean, Season 5 was all about, Hearthstone Masters Korea Season 5 was all about Team Sunbi. A Team Sunbi final and also a Team Sunbi winner at APAC Spring. There was, of course, Handsome Guy, who will be repeating at APAC Summer, attending-wise at least. Who's to know? Maybe he'll win as well.
Yeah, right now we have one person from Team Sunbi and one person from Team All Killers already waiting at the APAC Championship.
The true big clans of Korea are represented. Apologies to Golden.
Yeah, whatever.
Well, Golden Coin is not even...
No, Doa was, of course, a member of
yeah,
the
but like Golden Coin is almost a half the size of what it originally was.
Yeah. Well, teams come and go in Hearthstone as we know well right now.
Yeah, Na'Vi, of course, disbanding. Well, that news came out
So is Arkan.
yesterday. That's true. I don't think it's been officially announced, but you can put the dots together when Amaz joined NRG.
Who wouldn't want to hang out with Shaq, though?
Yeah.
All right. khaizero setting things up for, ideally, he's hoping a pretty big Thunderbluff Valiant turn a little bit later. Do you go all the way for the Tuskar Totemic, though? That'd be a lot. Yeah, I like this a little bit better. Just clear the board, kind of force your opponent to think about using some AoE, give yourself an opportunity to, rebuild that board easily.
Healing Totem also plays around Blizzard on turn 6, so...
I'm a little surprised that khaizero did not equip one of his weapons here. I understand why he doesn't want to overextend to the board and not play his Tunnel Trunk, but why not at least equip the weapon? You have two of them.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it certainly doesn't hurt.
You don't respect any weapon removal from Mage, so...
I mean, once in a while you see that Acidic Swamp Ooze and Freeze Mage, but where you've got two, Spirit Claws in your hands, you might as well play one. I mean, this isn't World of Warcraft. You can't dual wield in Hearthstone yet.
I like that you added the yet at the end.
You never know.
Ragnaros, the Light Lord, exists, so...
That's true.
Anything from World of Warcraft can be subverted.
Well, I'm still waiting for enchantment cards, right? That have like an effect that stays out on the board, like a spell that stays out on the board until you get rid of it.
A permanent effect, sure.
You can put it on a minion, yeah, but why not expand things, right? All right, it's gonna be ET.
Now this opens up double cycle cards. Now you got pretty cheap cycling here, but Certainly isn't the direct damage that we usually associate with the Emperor Thoris turn. He plays it on curve, didn't really have a better line. We'll finally play one of the Spirit Claws after getting the Spell Power Totem.
Yep, and he's got Spell Power, so Maelstrom Portal works out pretty well here too, not having to lose any of his minions. And Arcane Anomaly, so something that he could theoretically buff up, you know, with some spells later on.
And now Steelo's like, where's my AoEs, guys?
Yeah, seriously.
Now, he could still draw into them. Remember, these Arcane Intellects are just a 2 mana.
Yeah, but the issue is that even if you get Blizzard or Flameswing, you don't have enough mana to
But
play
if
them.
you get the, if you get a cheaper AoE spell, like
Totally.
play that.
I mean, Frost Nova would delay things a little bit, I suppose.
Also finds a couple of taunts to also reduce damage. So it could just be 3 mana spent on effectively 14 health worth of extra shielding with the double 0/2 taunts and the ice barrier.
Yeah, I mean, this board looked a little scary from khaizero just because he had the Flametongue totem, but once that is gone, this is just a board full of a lot of the basic totems.
Yeah, until the Thunderbluff Valiant hits next turn, then things get a little bit dicey.
It's like the 0/2 totems, like Harusu says, feel a bit junky when you don't have threat coming out. But when a snowball minion like the Thunderbluff Valiant hits the board, Steelo's like, oh.
This
damn.
is the turn that Khaizero's been setting up for all game long. And it pays off. I mean, it's a scary board. And now if Steelo doesn't draw any AoE, he is in big, big trouble.
Even if he fireballs Thunderbuff Valiant, the stats are permanent on the totems.
Yeah. That's the thing. Because obviously that Thunderbuff Valiant is not gonna live past this turn. But the damage has been done.
He's not going to be dead this turn as Ice Barrier, so unless Bloodlust was to come off the top, he's probably fine.
There's also a chance that he can top deck something like Frost Nova and Doomsayer and his 2 falling cards from the AI.
Asking for 2 perfect cards is greedy.
Especially because if he does do both Arcane Intellects, he can't play Fireball and Ice Barrier. So I think this is all he gets as far as draw goes. Oh, he only had one anyway, so.
This is really funny. We just saw a Tempo Mage game with double Flame Strike and 1 Blizzard, and we're looking at a Freeze Mage game with no AoE.
I mean, that's kind of the thing with Freeze Mage, right? Is you have all this board control, but sometimes you just don't draw it.
The mid-range matchup is probably one of the better ones for the Freeze Mage compared to aggro that can steal a victory on turn 4 or turn 5. So Steelo, an ideal turn coming up.
It's not over yet, but it's looking pretty rough. Although, you know, that Ice Barrier does let him delay things pretty well.
So Bloodlust would be 10, 20, 26, 29 damage. That would be lethal. Don't know if we run Bloodlust in the list.
Looking for the Flametongue Totem. Just checking the Ice Barrier.
Still got another 11 damage behind this, so honestly he's pretty close to lethal himself.
Oh yeah. Okay, so not going to play the Tuskar Totemic this turn, saying, you know what, I can just keep whittling away at his life total until he AoEs, and then I can just refill the board with what I've got in my hand.
Yeah, I mean, khaizero has so many junk minis in the board, so I don't think he wants to overextend to the board anymore.
Yeah.
He only puts out the Blood Mage Thanos for an extra draw.
You know, it's interesting he played that, because it does obviously give you that draw and a little bit more hand refill, but you might want to consider saving it to make sure you get 3 damage on your Spirit Claws too. So I think maybe there was an argument for saving that Blood Mage Thanos.
So this is interesting. Steelo is still going to be an outside chance, but we're getting into double secrets. He has Alexstrasza in hand that's playable this turn. If he starts drawing into the Frost Nova Doomsayer, it's an outside chance he survives a couple of turns, but I'll start the turn off with some Cycle, it looks like.
Yeah, I don't think you can go for the aggressive Alexstrasza against this board.
Definitely going to see the Ice Block if he doesn't draw AoE, and he did not.
Not yet.
Uh-oh.
So he could double secret.
Yeah.
If he does that, he'll have effective 18 health. On the board right now is 4, 8, 11, 12, 15 damage, so he would not be popped this turn.
I kind of think you have to play the... Well, I mean, you could go for the Ice Block and then just ping the 3-1 maybe. Reduce the damage a little bit.
Then you're almost never going to get value from the Ice Barrier.
See, the thing is,
Probably
if you
not,
play Ice Barrier, Ice Block, and your Ice Block isn't popped, there's a world where you aggressive Alexstrasza and win, because you already have 11 damage, so 13 damage, 14 including the Iceland, including the Hero Power in hand. But it looks like he's going to feel pressured enough to Icelands this turn.
Yep, that is additional 4 damage that is missing from Steelo's.
Hey,
Barnes.
it's Barnes. All right.
Barnes and Shaman, interesting.
Well, I mean,
What are you drawing into? Because obviously Hunter, the Death Rattle minions make a lot of sense.
yeah. I mean, if you get a Thunderbluff Valiant, I guess that might
Oh,
be
boy.
okay.
Oh
but
wow, that'd be the dream.
Sure,
Yeah,
but
but
are you
you
playing
need-
it on turn 6 then, the Barnes?
Yeah, you need more mana to hero power after it. So, I don't know, maybe he runs Alec here in this deck. That'd be pretty decent with Barnes. I mean, it's
2
a
damage.
yeah, it's 2 damage.
Alec here.
I mean, it's a taunt with Divine Shield too. So,
Yeah, and it's pretty sweet that Steelo has played a minion, so this way khaizero can actually kill off his blood-based Thanos and see what he gets from either the Barnes or the Falling Hand.
yeah, I don't exactly know what you're looking for with Barnes in this deck, but there he is.
So Steelo needs to find another fireball off the top, and then he wins in 2 turns. Now, this is also another stall tactic possible.
Yeah.
So he could loot Hoarder into Frost Nova. Basically, the big story here is that he's 9 damage for 5 mana. So he's desperately looking for a board clear and more direct damage. Second Ice Block will be more time to find that extra burn.
Yeah, this is starting to look interesting. Steelo
Might have a
just
chance.
be able to pull this one off.
He really might, guys. There's no other way for khaizero to put threats on the board.
Yeah, I mean, Steelo's really banking on the fact that this is a mid-range Shaman, so they don't run cards like
All right,
Lightning Bolt and a lot of spell damage.
that should do it.
This
actually.
will do it over turns because he needs an extra ping. He only has 14 damage next turn, but because he has another Ice Block, there's just no way
Yeah.
for khaizero to interact with this game.
Cool, and that's why you bring Freeze Mage to a tournament, because even if things look like they are all but lost,
I mean,
Still have
this
that
is
deck.
khaizero, so he might play something like, Secret, so...
What?
yeah.
Can I ask why he didn't pop Steelo at 1?
I have no idea.
I mean, I think you're right that you definitely do want to do that, but Khaizero's just assuming he's dead at this point anyway, I think.
You know he is.
Yeah.
He really, really is. And it's this turn. Does he
Yeah.
draw into the second Frostbolt?
Yep. That's about right.
Well, Freeze Mage was actually well piloted there by Steelo. Again, very much known for his Tempo Mage, but his Freeze Mage play impressed given that he didn't draw into a single Blizzard or Flame Strike the whole game.
Yeah. Well played by Steelo. Khaizero not really, I think maybe making a few little judgment errors there.
You're not popping a
Nothing
1 was
major,
just a
but
definite mistake, but of course we knew that it was
yeah,
match decided at that point.
right, nothing that ended up being actually impactful in this game, but certainly things that can be done to polish up the play a little bit more.
Now Steelo to do something different, and Freeze Mage has already started that for him. His remaining decks, we did mention they are the same classes at least, if not archetypes between the players. Shaman, Warlock, and Druid left for Steelo.
Yeah, I mean, Steelo should feel really comfortable having that Freeze Mage off of his table. While the other decks should do fairly well against pretty much any matchup.
Freeze
So what's it
Mage.
gonna be? What's
That
it
is-
gonna be? Shaman, Druid, Warlock for Steelo.
Game plan should be to hide information as much as possible, so khaizero probably incentivized to keep playing that Shaman. We did see Inventor changing decks a lot in the previous series. Just waiting to load in. I saw a Warlock on the screen from that angle. Thanks, intrepid cameraman. So
Cool.
perhaps we will see actually a change of decks from khaizero. Second match of the night here at the Apex Summer Qualifiers. If you're joining us late for Korea, we are going to have all 4 quarterfinals played today. So 4 best of 7s, plenty of Hearthstone. We're ready to end this Talkstone and play some.
I'm ready.
We are always ready. It's the Korean casters that we need to wait for.
Which one is it? Who do I need to beat up after the
Gorush,
cast?
definitely.
All
He's
right,
the
I'm going to
one
take out
who's-
Park Tae-min. Come over here.
Come on, Gorush. What do you got to talk about?
He's like, they've got the same class, the same. Druid, D-R-U-I-D.
Can you spell that again? I didn't quite catch it.
D-R-U-I-D.
Thank you. All right, Golden Arthas.
This song isn't supposed to go this long at this time.
Yeah. They had a life-size, the real-size Arthas in Korea only a month ago.
What size is the real size?
I don't know. It
based on the
looked very
real world.
gigantic. It looked very gigantic.
When did Arthas walk around the world at that size?
Do you mean like somebody
He ran out of
cosplaying or
music
something?
track.
I mean, I don't want to say life-size because then it sounds like
Oh, here we
he's
go.
like only like 6 feet tall, but he's much taller than
Well,
that.
I don't think he was alive or real.
Okay,
Sorry
fine.
to bust your dreams.
The World of Warcraft size.
Well, technically he was
I-
undead.
Guys, I'm pointing at the screen because I saw that that Steelo is running Totemic Might in his list.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
I mean that's you see that in a few shaman lists these days.
Do you really?
I mean, yeah, some people use the Wicked Witch and the Totemic Might to get
the Wicked Witch.
value.
There's the Wicked Witch on our screen right there.
There you go. My excitement still remains. It's going to be Warlock Zoo versus a slightly new archetype of shaman.
Yep. And Primal Infusion.
Primal Fusion.
Sometimes I like to fuse my totems with prime things.
Is it a primal need that makes you want to fuse
Where
your
is
temp?
this going?
Why not? I don't know. I really don't know where I was going with that.
You're getting Feral Rage over there, Russell.
Oh, man.
It's going to be a long night, guys.
Did we listen to yours too much that we're adapting it to jokes now?
Maybe.
I was trying to lip read him. I think he was making a bad joke.
So it looks like it's going to be a similar Zoo Warlock for Khaizero to what we saw in our last match, which is that new discard package that runs Malchezaar's Imp, Darkshire Librarian, and Silverware Golem.
Well, this lets you know just how much of an issue the Imp Gang Boss is for Shaman to answer.
I think we've known how much of an issue Gang Boss is for decks for a long time now.
You've been talking to him, you know how much the trouble is.
Well, anyone who's been playing the game knows that that's a card that's pretty annoying to deal with.
You always kind of wonder, because obviously Warlock Zoo has been there a long time, ever since, as every Korean knows, Reynad invented it back in the day.
There you go.
And you wonder, is there one single card that can cause Warlock Zoo to rotate out of the meta? Is losing Imp Gang Boss in future standard revising or revisions enough for Warlock Zoo to walk out? It feels like Imp Gang Boss has been the cornerstone of basically every Zoo deck for a long time.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think so. You already have a pretty good redraw Darkshire Huntsman, and I'm sure that you can get... I mean, you already have a Silver Golem, there's a bunch of other stuff.
That's right.
So, right now Steelo thinking, well, I can use my Wicked Witch Doctor, then coin, and, you know, throw out the Spirit Claws, I suppose. Can deal with one of these minions. Have that bigger body on the board, I suppose. Maybe get a, you know, totem out of it.
There is the Wicked Witch.
Yeah. Okay, and he will go ahead and use Primal Infusion too. Primal Fusion, Infusion. Primal something.
Double spell power. That's really good for the turn 5, because this turn 5 play can be a 5/5 taunt and also the 3/3 weapon. It's very likely that one of, especially the buffed up spell power totems will live.
And, ooh, okay,
That's
well.
not too bad, because he does have a second Doomguard in hand.
Could be better, could be worse. As you're fighting for the board, there's Barnes. Are we actually going to see Barnes played here, though?
So
I don't think so.
I think you gotta,
this is 2 Shamans now that we see running Barnes. I must admit, I wasn't expecting that.
I'm not a huge fan of it.
In Shaman.
In Shaman? Yeah.
I mean, Barnes obviously a very powerful card in Hunter and other archetypes. I just wonder what he's running in this to justify the Barnes. Maybe we'll find out. Something like a Sylvanas would be big.
I mean, if you think about Wicked Witch Doctor, that's something that you can certainly benefit right away from with Barnes, as is something like Mana Tide Totem. So there's certainly, I mean, Flame Tongue Totem. Honestly, there's quite a bit. Actually, now that I think about it a little bit more, there is a decent amount you can get from Barnes in this.
It's not a focus on the death rattle, but more the immediate effects in those cases.
Well, that's really interesting, because Steelo didn't have any spell to use with the Wicked Witch Doctor, so I thought he was going to go for Theme from Below over Burns, but he decided to go for the Burns instead. Because if he runs something like Thunderbolt Failure, then he definitely wants to wait for 1 extra turn so he can do the Burns and Hero Power, get that extra value.
Oh, another good Hex target there. Nice to save it.
Discard duo in the hand of Khaizero is not ideal.
I do like saving the hexes for the Imp Gang bosses because Doom Guards are scary. Yeah, I mean, they've got a lot of stats, but you can kill them with damage, which is something that Shaman can do a lot easier than dealing with all those 1/1s that come out of the Imp Gang boss.
And you've already seen 1 Doom Guard so far this game, so
yeah.
Second Imp Gang boss does look like a pretty juicy target for the Hex.
Well, but with the Flame Totem, you can definitely one-shot kill the Imp Gang boss and use your weapon to kill off the remainder of it.
Yeah, that's true, but you know, why not just save that stuff and concentrate on keeping that board nice and strong?
I mean, I guess Steelo was getting the read that Khaizero does not have the second Doomguard in hand just because the way he used the first one
he
immediately
smashed
into
out
the 5.
the
Yeah,
Doomguard.
exactly.
So He'll feel unfortunate if he has one. We know that he does. It's going to come out this turn as well.
Yeah, it was definitely the wrong read. But a reasonable one.
Yeah. Khaizero is in a bit of trouble now.
Khaizero can go for the super YOLO play and
Oh, it's so YOLO though, Hearthstone.
Oh, I don't like that.
But you just instantly lose if you discard the Doom Guard.
Oh,
Too
this
risky.
guy's not YOLO enough.
Too risky.
Hearthstone disapproves of by far the smarter line of play.
Ah, there's a Bloodlust. Okay.
Now you're wondering about Bloodlust from previous Shaman that's actually in this one. Suddenly the damage lethal ranges go way up.
I think he was hoping for Spell Power Totem there so he didn't have to use one of his minions to clear the Doom Guard, but he's looking okay either way. And that's a great time to have a Darkshire Librarian. Wow, I guess he's hoping he draws into a Silverware Golem.
This is going to be an ordering nightmare.
I mean, you have to play the defender first now.
Yeah, this almost feels like the Forbidden Ritual in Defender Argus. As much as you want to Defender Argus.
This, honestly, this feels like the living embodiment of the not like this emote in Twitch chat.
I don't know why you'd tap before you
Totemic
play
Mind.
That's all right. Well, Totemic Might indeed.
What a sick card.
Yeah. It's good stuff, man. He didn't get the Spell Power Totem again, which is kind of rough. Because if having that extra damage on the Spirit Claws would make this turn so much easier.
I mean, it was only 25% chance.
Yeah. It's rough. Gotta use the Bloodlust.
Boom. Khaizero probably going to be surprised to see the Bloodlust, but I assume you just launch 8 damage to face. He does.
Oh, yeah. Now a chance for Khaizero to maybe get a bit of a comeback. Not with those draws. Yeah.
It's down to 10 HP right now.
Tap plus Flame Imp is probably not something you invest in, but maybe he has to.
I think you have to. Yeah. Because your opponent has 22 health. If you
Spell
don't do
Power
something,
Totem.
if you don't do something,
it's gonna put Khaizero at 1 HP if he gets a Spell Power Totem here.
Yeah, it would have been almost lethal, but the fuel that's going to be provided by the Mana Tide Totem is also going to do a lot of work as well.
Yep.
With one Defender Argus gun, I don't think it's really worth it to try to kill a minion.
Well, you also would lose out on the last charge of your weapon, so...
Which could potentially be 3 damage instead of just 1.
He's really thinking about it, though, because right now he's thinking about if he finds Argus, his next card, I guess if he taps into it as well, can I win the game?
I mean, looking at Steelo's list, he doesn't even run a Lightning Bolt, so I think it's...
Now he does actually go for the trade, so because maybe he's gone for less of the spell-powered approach, he feels threatened into running with no direct damage. We'll lose the board here.
Does Khaizero top?
I don't think you do. Because it's the difference between being dead to Lightning Bolt and not dead to Lightning Bolt.
3 damage is actually a pretty common number for Shaman to do, obviously.
Yeah. Rock Fighter weapon. Too.
How many turns does he feel like he has? Looks like the answer's going to be at least a couple more.
All right.
Wait. Okay, yeah, he's going to throw out double Thunderbluff Valiant. Right now, that doesn't die on board.
Yep, that's that. Should be anyway for Khaizero. Overwhelming is not enough damage, and so Steelo gonna take a 2-0 lead in this series.
Comes up 2-0 lead. Discard Warlock just didn't get his cards in order, didn't get any of the beneficial discard effects, and Khaizero is still looking for a first win. Just a single win with Druid and Warlock remaining for Steelo.
Yeah, I mean, again, I think there were little ordering issues with how Khaizero played out that game. And in that particular case, turns where he wasn't able to get the Defender of Argus buff onto the Darkshire Librarian, I think things like that did cost him this time around.
The ordering on the turn when he had the Darkshire Librarian tapped and then got an Argus, and it was kind of a really super awkward turn, I thought came across the most clearly as perhaps just overthinking things.
When you're so casual in the audience,
he gets to be
that win.
He gets us to be a fan for the rest of the series.
Yeah, definitely.
Obviously pick up any tech choices from one of his potential opponents, but Airtrax just chilling.
You're in hardcore study mode, man. If you're Airtrax, you're going to be watching these guys' decks really carefully, trying to get all the information you can.
Steelo has Totemic Might check. Well, No totemic might probably this time. I'd be surprised to see 2 in a series. khaizero versus Steelo, Shaman versus Warlock again.
All right, got the reverse matchup from last game. In classes anyway. Looks like, all right, a little bit more of a mid-range evolve sort of Shaman for khaizero probably.
The Master Evolution will be mulliganed away.
That Lightning Storm is always such an icky card to have in your starting hand. Even if you're playing against Zoo, you know that card is going to come in handy. But there are also a lot of cards in Zulog, like Urger Squire, Imp Game Boss, Dersher Huntsman, that does really well against it.
All right, I'm going to give you a theoretical question here then. Would you prefer to if you could choose, let's assume you played a lot of Shaman, you could always have Lightning Storm in your starting hand, or always have it in your bottom 10 cards, which would you choose?
The starting hand, but I mean, you definitely want to lead with something like Totem Golem.
Well, guess what? He's got all of it.
He does have all of it.
Now, I like the Malcazar's Imp here, along with the Abusive Sergeant. He might just not. Okay, so he's going to play it. I thought maybe he would save it to use it with the Knife Juggler next turn, but I think it's too useful if you draw something like a Darkshire Librarian next turn. Definitely want to get that out there.
1-3 for 1 that refills your hand if you ever discard a card.
Awkward.
Tap into PO.
Maybe, or just throw down the Knife Juggler and go to face. Make them trade, but it's not a great turn for Steelo. In fact, it's extra bad with that Lightning Storm lurking in the hand of khaizero.
Yeah, it's really awkward, especially because Steelo has to defend of Argus at turn 4. So he definitely wants most of his minions to survive until then.
Well, tap Power Overwhelming is probably the only play that actually does that. I guess also tap into second Abusive Sergeant would play the Totem Golem cleanly.
Is he running PO in this deck, though? Because a lot of these lists that run this discard package now don't run Power Overwhelming, so...
Well, can we discuss it because the players don't get to switch stacks?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't looked at the deck list that closely yet, so I'm not sure, but just the ones that I've been seeing used around lately have been cutting PO.
Right, well, Steelo.
He's gonna get heavily punished by the Rockbiter weapon.
From Steelo's perspective, though, it would ideally trade with Totem Golem, so I can't really argue with the move if you look at it from his point of view.
khaizero gets to find a better spot for the Lightning Storm, though. Can be a bit greedier with that spell.
Yeah, and I also really like the fact that khaizero decided to hold on to that Lightning Combos just in case he wants to play that, point out the Lightning Storm in the following turn.
There's that new sick combo Hero Soul, the Blood Mage Thou Knows Spirit Claws combo.
True.
That is so true.
3 for a 3/3 weapon.
Nice.
Alright, nothing really worth discarding here, but a little bit awkward in that he can't play both the 2-drop and the 4-drop. Not enough mana.
Do you tap here first to get something like Imp Game Boss, and if you don't, then you can play your Dersher Huntsman? Not Huntsman, but Dark Peddler afterwards?
Yeah, I think so, because you can still play whatever the Dark Peddler gets you, too.
Yeah, if you are going to not play Argus, tapping first seems like they'll go, but wow.
Oh, is it enough for the Dimple?
That is a pretty insane 2 discards to give up there. Dark Peddler and Argus, some of the most high-power cards for Zoo Warlock.
Shaman has such an enormous hand right now, too. I mean, you know they've got cards that can deal with this. I'm very surprised that he went for that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not really sure if I agree with that line of play.
I don't.
Because when I watched a lot of other people who play discard log on stream, what people tend to do is they actually hold on to their Dingar because they know that they can draw into something like Silvery Golem and get full value even when you are discarding the cards from your hand.
Totally, I agree with you completely. I think that was, a pretty poorly chosen line of play by Steelo. He hasn't been punished for it yet, but he definitely will be.
It just seems like the list that he's running also doesn't have the burst to draw into double Power Overwhelming and end the game in 1 or 2 turns, and the game won't last much longer than that, especially with what we know khaizero has in terms of board clears.
Yeah, I mean, Zulog and discard luck, while they may look very similar to each other, but the way you approach the deck and the way you play it is slightly different. And the way that Steelo is playing this deck is he's playing like it's a Zulog.
I kind of like Mana Tide Totem into thing from below here. because it will ideally cause your opponent to have to trade more, you know, get rid of that Doom Guard maybe, and it's going to be hard for them to take away your extra drawing source too.
Now you're looking at a turn 7 with the ability to equip a 3/3 weapon and also do the 3 to 4 AoE damage guaranteed.
Wow. That was pretty good.
This is going to be a lot more pressure from Steelo.
Now it makes sense here to put that between the Malkazar's Imp and the Crazed Alchemist. Trade with your Doom Guard, and then you can still take out both totems.
But don't you want to use that Soulfire?
Yeah, I mean you could. You could, or you could save it, because Malkazar's Imp lets you draw when you discard with it. So what if you draw a Silver Golem? I think there's arguments both sides.
But this way you save your Doom Guard, and I think that's really important.
Yeah, I suppose saving more minions is easy.
He also feels like he's to some degree protected from AoE, but there's the guaranteed spell roll. Could have also invested in Hero Power to find another totem. It was only a 25% chance. There's most of the board this way. A lot of overload next turn for khaizero, but is insulated from damage for now.
Yep. See what Steelo draws. Gonna life tap immediately.
Yeah. Wondering a bit about the Barons. And there's another target, obviously, for the Barons from khaizero. He has Sylvanas in the list.
It's very true. Yeah, khaizero, unless something kind of drastic happens, should have this one pretty much locked up.
A perfect turn of the Maelstrom portal.
Helps him build the board as well. Getting that one drop, I mean, anything helps at this point.
Hey!
All right.
Pretty good one.
A little bit more damage. Yeah, Steelo's looking...
This is pretty good. I mean, this is the time to get Doomguard, I guess.
suppose.
But is he smarking with it? I guess you have to.
I think you definitely have to, but khaizero does have one more Hex left in his deck, right?
Gotta go face.
Only face.
For now, khaizero has no answer to it, so there is a world where this Doomguard does 11 damage, because the Direwolf Alpha will die for sure next turn. Wow, he actually trades the spell power. Does reduce the damage on the weapon at least.
Oh yeah, that's why he decided to kill the Blade Thanos.
Spell power totem always drew the most ire from the enemy, and continues to do that here.
It's going to be a nice trade. The minion he got out of Maelstrom weapon, and then yeah, he just dropped the Sylvanas and trade with whatever comes next.
That piggy been working out.
OP piggy.
That was a Roadhog right there.
Yeah. All right.
I gotta feel, honestly, I think when Steelo goes back to watch this game, it feels like his play has been pretty erratic for the deck that he's been playing. It didn't really feel like he's been playing to the win conditions of discard lock, and now he's in such a muddy position trying to close this game.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, discard lock has been available for only a couple of weeks now, so none of the players have much of experience in playing this deck.
And I take that point, but it definitely shows this game more than the other discard lock games we've seen. Doesn't really mind taking extra damage on the Sylvanas. Wondering what represents more damage, the Direwolf Alpha or the Knife Juggler.
Well, he knows both Doom Guards are out of the way, so as far as minions that are going to come charging at him, he's feeling pretty good about not having to worry about that Direwolf Alpha.
Yeah, he feels pretty comfortable taking that 2 extra damage by taking out the Divine Shield.
We'll sack both minions to kill the Sylvanas. We'll have to leave the Flame Tongue Totem on the board, though.
It's not looking good. Deciding if he wants to trade or maybe even play another Direwolf Alpha and go to face for 3, but I think you have to trade. Still gonna lose this game either way, but gotta do what you can, I suppose.
Honestly, Steelo should probably just spending more of his mental capacity thinking about future games than this one, because none of his decisions at this point really feel like they're gonna have too much of an effect.
I mean, khazero's down to 0 cards in hand as well, but you just have to think about what's left in these guys' decks. And the minions that khaizero has access to are generally going to fare better 1-to-1 against what Steelo's got left over, especially with things like that.
Spell Power Totem of any description sets up really nice trades for khaizero. He has 2 chances with the Tuskar Totemic.
Yep.
Spell Power? Nope.
All right.
No Spell Power.
Healing Totem, but that's a Healing Totem isn't bad.
It's fine.
I mean, you still lose the Tunnel Frog either way, I suppose, but it doesn't really matter. You've got a much bigger board than your opponent does. Gang Boss is nice.
On turn 12 or 13, though, I guess that'll be a bit bemoaned by Steelo. Damage on the board at the moment is 5. Spell Power Totem will represent another 2.
Okay.
Right, so 50-50. There he goes.
All right.
Yeah.
So it's getting closer and closer to lethal, but probably going to be...
I mean, after this Maelstrom portal,
Yeah.
this is almost a lethal.
The entire board is going to be gone.
Yeah, not by damage, but by the board state, it's almost lethal.
Yeah, khaizero, you know, again, barring something really crazy happening, has had this game locked up for a little while now. Gets some blood imp even out of the portal. That's nice.
And Steelo is done.
Yep. That's going to be GG. So khaizero.
Well,
you know,
Steelo is not surrendering yet.
Not yet. I mean, it's GG whether Steelo actually leaves the game or not.
Still short of lethal, but yeah. There's no catch-up mechanic for the discard lock.
Is there?
No, there's
No.
none.
I don't think so. Nope.
All right, if he just Dark Peddlers into Doom or crashes the game, he's got a chance here. No.
Well, he
He
can
can
soul
do
fire
a soul
himself.
fire, yeah.
That's
and do
true.
The honorable Sudoku.
The most
at this
honorable
point.
Sudoku is possible.
Yeah.
But the question
Go
is,
for it.
do you take Soulfire tap and then try to discard something cool as you die?
Oh, plus 10 for the style points.
Exactly. Got to go for the style concedes.
Steelo, just let it go. You've lost.
All right, enough frozen from you. Ooh,
There's
Flame Imp
another
lethal
suicide
now possible.
method.
I like Flame Imp lethal. It's pretty funny.
I mean, Steelo taking a moment, obviously, to think back through that game and try to pick out a turn or two where he could have done things maybe a little bit better, but in the end, he will concede, and so that'll be the first win of the match for khaizero.
And negative 10 points for style points.
Well, 10 points from Gryffindor, from Harusol. But khaizero will not be swept in this case. No 4-0. We'll find a bit of a steadying win with the Shaman.
I feel like Steelo's more of a Slytherin.
Is he?
I
What would
get that
khaizero be
impression,
then?
I don't know.
Hufflepuff?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I don't even know what that means, but it's funny.
Maybe a Ravenclaw, but I'm
No,
leaning
he's a
towards
Hufflepuff.
I'm leaning towards Hufflepuff.
Hufflepuff is where all the lame people go.
Look, you didn't have
No
to say that out
characteristic.
loud, Harusol.
Well, no, that's
we weren't implying that at all.
tells it like it is. Well, khaizero gets his first win, and he's still got Warlock, Druid, and Mage yet to finish off this series. Steelo's still looking for wins with his Warlock and his Druid.
The mirror classes have led to some pretty close games. That game was definitely much more one-sided. khaizero could have had it many turns earlier, but Steelo was playing it to the last. It didn't seem like he has a hot date to go to after this game like he has in previous series, where he's run out the door as fast as possible.
Oh man, Papa.
It's a long night, Harusol. It's a long night.
One night at Karazhan.
I'm so glad that most of the Korean players don't actually listen to the English podcast afterwards.
I'm sorry for suggesting that he might have a hot date.
Hey, you're the one who called khaizero lame just a moment
That's
ago.
true.
I realize
We
that
just
now.
said he was in Hufflepuff.
I think he's great. All right, well, Mage
I said
versus Warlock.
Hufflepuff is lame. I didn't say khaizero is lame. I'm sorry, Hufflepuff
So,
fans.
here's a question. Do you think Medieval play himself this game? That's what I'm wondering.
There's probably a unique voiceover for that, right?
Maybe. He's like, I used to look so good.
Oh,
Before I
having
was
fun here.
Consumed by the fell.
So we're looking to see a bit more of a higher level play from specifically Steelo on this discard lock. We had a couple of question marks about his ordering in the previous game.
Wow, he's even considering to keep the Soulfire.
It is a clean answer for the card we see khaizero currently has 2 of. The big minions on the side of the Temper Mage is definitely a Zoo favored matchup most of the time.
Adding to that, too, I mean, you do have more opportunities to benefit from discarding, of course, with Silverware Golem and with
Malzahor's Imp.
Malzahor's Imp. That's right.
No discard synergy yet. Did show the Crazed Alchemist in the previous game to kill a healing totem, I believe.
It's interesting to me to see this Argent Squire in Steelo's deck because when you're adding in another 2 1-drops, something's got to give. You know, I feel like, and when you're also adding in like a second Soulfire, I would probably cut out Argent Squire. So I'm a little bit surprised to see that there.
Yeah, me too. You definitely want to keep the Flame Imp. It's so much damage representative.
Well, speaking of damage represented, there's double Soulfire in the hand of Steelo.
Yep, on a discard. Well, he's building a board. Ah, there's Darkstar's in. Not going to go for it just yet, though.
He's considering not actually playing Flame Imp this turn. Does play around a card like Arcane Blast that we see khaizero has in hand. Could definitely go for a big turn here.
Yeah, he's got the coin, he's got the Arcane Blast, like you said, and he's got a good chance of taking out the 1/1, so yeah, I say go for it.
The moment that an Imp Gang boss comes on the board, that's where the Tempo Mage really struggles, so...
That's pretty close to perfect.
Yeah,
for khaizero
almost
there.
perfect, Playmaker.
Okay,
it's so many Soulfires.
It's time to discard, yeah. So you play the Imp, you play the Flame Imp, and you Soulfire it.
You Soulfire the Flamewaker for sure, after those 2 cards, and you get that cycle.
Yeah, I think you just use 1 Soulfire here. There's no need to Soulfire face.
There's such a cute Korean voice.
I was thinking I hadn't heard that before.
And hopefully, for Steelo, he's able to draw into a 1-drop with this.
Die, evil Flamewaker.
All right, that's okay. Extra.
Oh, Defender Argus is pretty good. Follow-up.
Agreed. khaizero looks like he's motioning to play the Water Elemental on curve, but changes that when he sees the mirror images.
Isn't Water Elemental still better?
I mean, it's tricky to say because you could go for Mana Worm, Mirror Images, and then
Double Minion, Mirror Image.
or Frostbolt the Flame Imp too, and just really reduce the amount of damage that your opponent has on the board.
Gas.
Holding on to Mirror Images also pairs really nicely with Flamewaker in a future turn.
I think in the end, this is a better play because it's still going to force your opponent to trade. You're still probably going to get rid of those minions.
Yeah, you haven't seen a PO from Steelo yet, so I think it's pretty safe to expect that Steelo is not running one in his deck.
Yeah. I kind of like the Shield Bearer here just to absorb more Flamewaker shots if you need to.
khaizero going to have dreams of Argent Squires and Soulfires if he loses this game, so it will be 3 Argent Squires and 3 Soulfires. Nice turn with the Crazed Alchemist though.
Oh, no.
Ouch.
Oh, that hurts a little bit.
Oh, that's fine though.
Does refill with the Doomguard though.
Yeah. So if he can draw into a Silverware Golem next turn, that would be perfect for Steelo.
And awful news for khaizero, who does not have any AoE in his hand, barring the random damage from the Flamewaker.
Seems like you need to go for a Flamewaker turn here.
What does it look like though? You can't even play 2 spells this turn.
I mean, I guess you have to go like Mana Worm, Flamewaker, and Mirror
Frostbolt?
Images. It's not a good turn. It's gonna be rough either way.
9 power on board. We know an extra 5 most likely to be played by Steelo next turn.
I mean, what contests the board the most is Mana Worm, Flamewaker, Mirror Images, because it protects their minions, it does a little bit of damage to your opponent's side. They'll be, tempted, or they'll be kind of forced to trade with it either way, so that gives you time to draw into more AoE. So it doesn't feel good, but it's probably going to be the best line to play for khaizero, just to kind of stay in this line. I'm just going to go for the Frostbolt, though.
There is a chance that one of the 2/2s die. Very unlikely.
Yeah, that did not work out. Oh, this is going to be a great hand refill for Steelo. I say just let that Argent Squire go, man. Yeah, draw 2 cards.
He does just that. There's another one, the 3rd one of the game.
Oh,
and
nice.
another Doomguard. Well, send an extra 7 damage to face this turn. Next turn he will have 10, 12 damage, so 1 off link. No, it will be 13 if nothing is removed, but seems unlikely.
I think this is the most value the monsters get from 1 game.
Yeah.
that I've seen so far.
And this is why you see 2 of them in a deck right now, because they can really do a good job of refilling your hand and not making you have to burn life to do it.
So he's going to have
perfect.
He can do 11 damage this turn if he positions the Direwolf Alpha just to get the double buffs.
Wait, why is
Is he looking for?
He's looking for 4.
If you
He doesn't have a 4th Soulfire.
If you play the wolf, you can kill the mirror images so cleanly, though.
He's looking for a abusive sergeant, which.
All right.
He just wants 2 extra card draws, I guess.
So.
Wow.
I really think that was unnecessary, but he's done it now.
I agree. Because now it's a much less clean kill here on the mirror images mostly. So yeah.
I mean, I guess Steelo's not too worried about not dealing immediate damage right now. He's more concerned about having a very strong board, and I guess that's the reason why he went for this, and he just wanted more answers in case
What this
something
does do is that no AoE answers this board now. I mean, short of a Frost Nova Doomsayer and a Tempo Mage, this board is living forever.
He wouldn't have really had a much different situation if he would have gone for the wolf.
Yeah, but I guess he just wanted a safer approach to this and have...
Gets him.
Yeah.
Gets him the win either way, but interesting decisions from Steelo.
And look, we will see, if we do see Steelo win, he will most likely have to pilot this Warlock deck again, and while he found his victory on the 2nd attempt, necessarily super convinced me, Doe, and it sounds like you were pretty much along the same line too, but Steelo does find that victory, and now it's only Druid. They need to find a single win, take out khaizero in our 2nd quarterfinal.
Yeah, is this one going to be another 4-1?
Well,
quite possibly.
Certainly looking that way. khaizero on his return since finishing 2nd in Season 5. Hasn't looked outstanding, but has a mirror match to really stake his claim.
Cool.
All
right, looks like Yogg for khaizero. I didn't catch what Steelo had there.
Ooh, it's a Yogg Malygos from khaizero.
All right, that's cool.
Malygos Druid was all the rage a couple of seasons ago.
He's got the Auctioneer in there. So it's basically Miracle Druid with Yogg in there, I suppose.
And it's basically our favorite old bug.
You know, patches come and go, but Malfurion's casting will go forever.
You know, on a day like today, it's quite appropriate. We're also casting forever.
Sure.
Was it better to go for the 3-2 mini instead of giving the buff?
The thing is, your opponent can only get rid of those 1/1s if he uses his hero power, and that's going to prevent him from doing anything else most of the time. So I kind of like this because it's a way to sort of overwhelm your opponent early. Nice innervate to the Azure Drake.
Now, this next Panther will probably not be coming out, probably will be the buff now on a more imposing board from khaizero.
Probably.
But
well, it's a
nice swipe turn.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, if Steelo went for the buff there the turn before, then he was at least going to have 1 minion left of the board.
Well, he has one now.
He could have had 2 minions on the board now.
Yeah.
Let's not dwell on what could have been too much. Urusol. Focus on this game where khaizero is waiting for a later turn to go off with that Gadget Zan.
So, Feral Rage would be the clear here, I suppose, if he wants to go for it.
Doesn't really care about the Panther too much, but obviously removing a minion that turn it's played is preferable.
Yeah, because otherwise you have to do something like Innervade, Auctioneer, and Moonfire, and that's not gonna... that doesn't really mean anything.
Well, he's gonna reveal the Moonfire this turn.
Alright, so Steelo probably has some idea of what kind of Druid deck this is going to be.
I mean, if you see a Moonfire, you know that Malygos is there somewhere.
Nice draw. Nourish is coming at pretty much a perfect time for Steelo. Nothing on the board to worry about, and not a great hand to play out of anyway.
And a Moonfire of his own.
Okay, is this a Malygos mirror match that we're seeing?
Maybe.
Heavily suggesting that.
Yeah. And of course you see the Arcane Golems in there too, which is pretty common include to most of those Yogg Druids these days.
So I'm just wondering, was it actually better to use the Moonfire there from khaizero over the Feral Rage when you do have a Malygos at hand already too?
I mean, even if you have a Gadget Sand in hand, it's a cycle for free. Goes into a second one, so maybe a bit more of a moot point. And
well, he would have had 2 then.
That's true. It would have been a double draw on turn 6.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess khaizero was worried that Steelo was going to have another Azure Drake, and he wanted to save the fair wage for that. But he did lose a lot of value by playing that one card.
Steelo's actually going for a minion here. Almost never see the minion draws, but precious few minions in these games, barring the arcane golems we see. Ironbark.
I guess you go for the Ironbark because you can play
it soon.
Yeah, I mean, it's better than the other 2.
Don't need to silence too much.
Well, funny enough, he may wish as he kept the Keeper of the Grove if he did that. I mean, I think Keeper of the Grove is probably the most utility you're going to get out of those 3 cards.
It is also a 2/2 stat, so...
The 8/8 is good, though, because it might force out your opponent's mulch or something like that, so...
Especially when you're going to play an 8/8 next turn, and then you can play another 8/8 taunt.
Turn 5 into turn 6, so hero power, hero power.
Hey, it's Fandral Saghelm, but there's not really anything to use with it. It's time to go for the Gadget Sand Auctioneer.
Is it, though?
He doesn't have a second spell to pair with the Innovate.
Yeah.
khaizero might just play Fandral as an aggro.
Wow.
He's not.
He's just going to play Auctioneer as an aggro
Did
minion.
he really just play a tempo Gadget Sand Auctioneer?
I mean, it draws removal that would have otherwise been used on Fandral Staghelm, so it could theoretically be a good play.
Okay.
But wouldn't you rather
I mean, it
waste
makes
your
sense.
Fandral over the Auctioneer? Because Auctioneer represents so many possible card draws, especially when you're sitting on that Moonfire and Innervate.
I mean, Moonfire also kind of represents, you know, one of his creative lethals, though, so...
Yeah, but he already gave up on one of them.
I know, it's true.
I mean, you only have one card at hand that actually gives the full value for the Fandral, so I think it was probably much better for you to just drop the Fandral, especially when it has 1 more HP compared to the Auctioneer.
Well, spells are being played, which means the Arcane Golem is coming out this turn for Steelo.
And there's a Living Roots, okay.
Well, the Arcane Golem was not going to come out if khaizero played the 3/5 instead of 4/4.
Now he's kind of in a weird spot where, you know, he does have a lot of direct damage developing. You see that he now has a turn 10 play that does 12 damage. But answering this Arcane Golem is not a simple task for khaizero.
Maybe just Fandral Rage here. It's a bit awkward.
And then do a 4 damage to...
Face. I don't know. It's a bit of an awkward matchup. So he's just going to try to do as much as he can, build the board as much as he can.
We'll have the ability to kill off the Arcane Golem in a couple of different ways in future turns. A little bit puzzled. Steelo almost insta-locked or insta-popped his Ironbark onto the board.
Yeah, he can do this. He can get rid of Fandral. Going to be a hard board for khaizero to deal with. Might have to... No. Maybe, what do you think?
Seems like it's going to be a Malagos turn. If he does use the Innovate with Malagos, he takes out the Arcane Golem trivially.
Could be, yeah, Innervate Malagos, but...
You're still leaving
yeah.
an 8-power minion on the board.
Yeah, you can't get rid of everything.
Well, it's going to be that Malagos this turn, so Gadget Sand gone. Probably only expecting 1 Gadget Sand in this list. Malagos is removed, win conditions largely gone. We know that it's very easy for Steelo to kill this Malagos. He's got the Blood Mage Thalnos into Wrath.
Interesting to see both of these guys with the Malagos, Yogg, Druid. Not something I was expecting to see today. Clean kill on the Malagos over from Steelo, so he's in good shape.
There's a lot of innovation from Steelo all in one tournament, kind of redefining my expectations for him as a player. This board is very easy for khaizero to clean up, but he still has the big threats in hand, like, for example, that Malagos.
Oh, nice. So this way he can actually play an Arcane Golem himself.
Certainly helps out. And able to cleanly remove the Violet Teacher as well. Steelo already reaching for the Nourish. All right, there's a Mire Keeper.
Swipe's not quite enough to take it out.
Well, you don't have to take it out.
Nope.
You're sitting at 29 HP.
Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. Swipe looks pretty good here.
Surely does. He can basically ape what Steelo did in his turn by developing a minion as well. Same minion in the Mire Keeper. Killing an 8/8 has never been an easy task for Druid. With things like Big Game Hunter out of the meta now, 5 mana. Only Mulch, which is expected to be a single copy of in these Druid decks, is a simple way to deal.
Yeah.
It does have the double swipe in hand, but
These new Druid decks are, and I haven't had time to play a lot with them yet, but they're reminding me more and more of like Handlock the more I see this. It's interesting. In terms of especially the late game pressure they can put on. Double swipe those
You don't
in
even
it.
have to use a Youngster until you are absolutely out of the cards
Oh, yeah.
and you are in a desperate situation.
Of course, yeah.
the card advantage, the big story for Steelo, is 1 health point ahead, which is not relevant, but 5 cards ahead.
Another Mire Keeper gonna go for some minions. And probably just grab some armor here.
All right.
Yep, why
Khaizero
not?
uses every single card in his hand, so Steelo feels very comfortable using that Malygos.
I think we might see a Yogg from Steelo here.
Well, you never really want to use Yogg when Malygos is on the board.
Yeah, it's risky for sure.
I've done that and it's not, it was not a pretty thing to see.
I love it. I want to see it. All right, Wild Growth thrown by khaizero. So we'll see
It
what
literally
he gets.
kills everything on the board. It's like
I know.
every single minion.
Sounds good.
Mulch was the desperate look, but here now he finds it with the Raven Idols, not playable this turn. Khaizero sighs deeply. We don't see the Discover right now, but I imagine there's not too many great options.
Whoa, okay.
Card Hive.
Yeah. It's going to be the portal so he can heal.
Moonglade Portal.
Yeah.
Yep.
Moonglade Portal. And he's got so much armor that extra health is kind of nice too.
Swipe would be 9 damage in this case. There's some more direct damage, so there's a lot from hand. Right now,
That's not
it's 12 from hand.
the only thing.
Nope.
Still a lot of damage. And a good amount of board clear when your opponent is hurting for cards.
And a good amount of armor they can gain.
Yeah.
Well, Yoks are on a bust, it feels like, for Khaizero, given how commanding that board lead you guys are describing is. Still no way to deal with the Malygos either. Considering not killing the 2/2.
Now a 6-cost minion comes out of that Moonglade Portal, so you could get something like Sylvanas here.
Time with the Wild Growth.
That'd be one of the best case of scenarios.
Yeah, you gotta cross your fingers, I think.
So Savit's playing yesterday, and you got Emperor Thorison when he had a pretty full hand. That was pretty cool.
Ooh, there's Yogg.
Ooh,
All right.
Sunwalker.
Yeah,
Wow, that's actually pretty useful.
this is not bad.
Not too bad.
It's, I mean, well, it gets cleared really easily, but it's
But I
still,
mean, he's got 34 effective health and a taunt with Divine Shield, so he's going to get to play Yogg.
he's gonna draw out the Moonglade, or the Moonfire anyway. Okay.
I'm
Minions.
pretty excited about a full board versus Yogg. Here we go, guys.
I know, yeah, we're definitely going to Yogg Town, that's for sure.
I hope the person who records how many spells were played is ready to do this one, because we're going to see a pretty damn massive Yogg come out this turn.
Khaizero did win a game with Yogg before.
Yes, I
He
remember.
got the double innervate.
Yes, I recall that one. That was a sight to behold. Well, is it going to be this game? Because 17 health for the opponent.
Praise Yogg.
It's time to praise him.
Yogg, take the wheel.
He's got an attack of some sort. Brawl's a pretty
Whoa.
good start. If he gets
All right.
rid of the Malygos, that's massive for Khaizero.
Yeah, and he does. Vandal survives. Torch, all right, Vandal
right.
survives.
Another torch.
Oh.
Vander does not survive.
Oh.
Oh, he does survive right now.
All right, oh, goodbye, Nourish.
I mean, you know.
At least he's got 10 mana now. Yeah, excess mana, I suppose. All right.
He's got a 10/10 in his hand, too.
Sapping Vandal, okay. Yep, he does have the 11/11, I believe it is. Or is it 10/10 or 11/11? I can't remember. Nobody uses that card.
Fine favor. Another draw.
great. Okay, there's damage. Running out of time, all right. Deadly poison, not too helpful. Confused, not too helpful.
Oh, bite.
Pretty good, all right. Rage, not helpful. There's a secret. We have no idea what it is, but it's there. We still have no idea what it is because our spectator's looking from Steelo's view. All right, CT.
Well, that was a turn.
That was an interesting Yogg.
So.
Do you dare, Steelo? Do you dare Yogg yourself?
I mean, Steelo's been playing even more spells than khaizero.
You don't Yogg.
At 11 HP, he's wondering what to do in this case.
Oh, we just got a confirmation. It's Ice Barrier
I heard that.
from khaizero.
He's going to actually Yogg. Remember, he did not know what secret was on the opponent's side.
Well, that was a little weird because usually you're supposed to hero power and then innervate out Yogg-Zero in case you get something like Eviscerate and deal that 2 extra damage, or Head Crack and get the card back.
He's got 5 attack on his hero. So no, only 2.
It's a free Arcane Golem, though. It's not bad. Shatter.
Ooh, Healing Wave. Where's it going to
Won,
go?
though.
Well, he wins the joust. That's for sure.
Yeah.
He lost the
So he lost the joust because he doesn't have another minion left.
Oh, yeah, Yogg needed that, yep. Earthshock, yep, okay. This is a little bit rough. At least he's got a free Arcane Golem. I mean, that's the great thing here, if he lives to use it. Oh boy, all right, so there's gonna be some noob dudes in there.
Okay.
All right, Feral Spirits is good. Feral Spirits is actually really good for Steelo. And play the Arcane Golem.
I'm sure we have the time to play yet.
Pyroblast!
Oh no! Oh,
Okay,
that was
really
close.
close.
Damn, that was Pyroblast right there.
All right. That was a little bit crazy. A little bit crazy, but it worked out. Gonna pop the Ice Barrier there. Fuse will run out eventually.
11-11, obviously is very threatening, but there's 10 power on the board.
Well, that's
That's 6 direct damage.
not enough.
So 9 damage off lethal.
Oh, is
2
that?
damage. So he's got 8
up.
from hand, and so he's 1 damage off lethal.
That is correct.
Let's think about that again. So he's got 10 damage, 7. Yeah, he's 1 damage off
one
lethal.
Well, he's got a ton.
His last card is Raven Idol. Mulch would be...
Yeah, you gotta discover a
here.
spell here, man.
So
If you discover a spell, you can't hero power, though.
So let's think about this. So we know that the damage range for khaizero is 6 direct, and obviously if the taunt goes away more, he has Wrath to get rid of the taunt.
He was thinking about using Fandral there.
He finds Living Roots, it's
that's
lethal!
it.
That is lethal.
Wow,
Right there.
what a way to win. Steelo finds it at the very end. All right, wow, that was an exciting series at the end.
The Yoggs were out of this world, and khaizero shake his head a little bit. Yogg had his fortune, had its back a couple of months ago, but this time it works out for Steelo right at the last with the draw from the Raven Idol. And Steelo will go through to the semifinals to join our winner from Series 1, Air Tracks, at that round.
Yeah, Steelo got that 4-1 win once again. He's the second person to do so today.
Yeah, I mean, he praised Yogg a little bit harder in the last game, but it was a 4-1 victory, so well played overall. There was a couple iffy things here and there from both. Yeah, a couple questionable turns from both players during that match, but we'll see what Steelo can do in the next round.
With that win, we're halfway through tonight's quarterfinals. When we come back, Alpe versus Ghost will be our third best of 7 here. We're working towards semifinals, working towards our APAC Summer Qualifier from the Korea Preliminary. Join us after the break.